domestic ideas. Appreciate you joining us. Let's welcome in Sadanand Shetty. He's VP Senior Fund Manager Equity at Taurus Mutual Fund, who's joining us. Sadanand, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Just want a quick comment from you on StanChart IDR listing. Have you had a chance to look at that IPO? The reason why I'm asking you is the fact that from a institutional point of view, domestic funds, domestic insurance companies are not allowed to invest in this kind of an IDR. So you actually get a sense that institutional participation in an IDR like this could actually remain muted. And there's also the implication of a dividend tax that's taxable in the hands of the domestic investors. What is your sense on StanChart IDR?
Good morning, Ashutosh. You see, StanChart listing is a symbolic to India's economic growth and strength, which clearly demonstrated today. What we believe is that long-term outlook of StanChart is really good, considering it's exposed to fastest growing economies of the world. And we believe that long-term investor will significantly benefit by investment in StanChart. Short-term trends can always move, it can always remain volatile. But the medium to longer term outlook of the bank will track underlying economies, which we think is definitely good.
All right. Talk about the markets. What have you been doing at Taurus Mutual Fund? What has been your investment strategy in these volatile times? Is the portfolio more skewed towards defensives, or are you looking at the domestic demand-oriented sectors, or perhaps even the high beta sectors, metals, real estate, to an extent auto, for that matter?
Ashutosh, traditionally it has been seen that whenever the full economic recovery happens, it significantly benefits banking, NBFC sectors, it benefits capital goods, it benefits industrials, it benefits consumer non-durables. It's a growth market which we are looking at. When we are talking about 8.5% GDP growth rate, it's clearly the growth stock, the growth oriented portfolio. That's something we are looking at. We clearly believe that some of these sectors will remain top of the pack over the next medium to longer term scenario. We are also selectively looking at some of those oil and gas companies, pharmaceutical companies. We also believe that some of those underperformer of last 3 quarters because of various external factors will come back in next 8 to 12 months period of time. We are looking at opportunity in some of those sectors. Our belief is that Indian market will track corporate earnings growth, which we are clearly seeing happening currently. We are also selectively looking at mid-cap space, which we think has an ability to expand their margins in several cases and can deliver much higher return than the market. Clearly, our portfolio will look at the growth oriented. It will have an overweight on most of the growth sectors. Some of the sectors we believe has significantly underperformed, which are so-called high beta sectors. We are looking into those sectors.
Okay. Got some of your initial comments out of the way. I'm going to take a bit of a detour here just to revisit counters that are moving in trade right now. Jet Airways continues to be a substantial gainer, and the stock is currently up 3.5% at 512 rupees. It's posted record passenger load factors in May 2010, 41% rise in domestic, 31% rise in international traffic. So performance-driven up move in that stock, which is currently at 511. JSW Energy is up on the fact perhaps that it's made a 70% acquisition, a stake acquisition in a company called Indian Ocean Mining, South Africa. And you've got Dish TV. UBS has put a buy on that stock. It's up a little bit in trade right now. Dish TV is up 1.5% at 43 rupees. I'm going to revisit JSW, Strides Arcolab, which has got a US FDA nod for an injection which is used for the treatment of epilepsy. Strides Arcolab is also up about 1%, 4 rupees on that counter. We'll keep visiting stocks that are moving up based on news flow. But let's come back, Sadanand, to some of your views on the market. Banking, a space that has seen a lot of investor interest. How are you viewing it?
We are looking at headwinds of banking sector is gradually easing off. Clearly in a growth market, we expect credit offtake to pick up as we move forwards in second half of this year. The banking sector also could see expansion in their NIM margin as well as increase in their fee income base. something which is a large section of our economy, we would clearly remain positive on that, and we think there are opportunities in the banking sector which an investor should look at it.
Do you want to give us a flavor, a sample of what particularly in banking attracts you? Are you at liberty to talk names, or just give us, just some parameters by which we can judge your interest in banking?
Manvi, we are not in a liberty to talk stock specific, but in general we are positive on PSU banks. We think increase in significant CASA levels will benefit banks in terms of lending rates and increase in their NIM margins.
Sadanand, can you talk about what's been the outlook on the state of the economy? I don't want to talk about the IP numbers today, which may have a huge bearing on the way people look at the manufacturing space. There's been a lot of buoyancy in some of those counters of late, pretty much on the expectation that the month-on-month growth could actually continue. Do you believe there could be some more upside? Again, I want to get your comment on the monsoon impact as well on the GDP. How positioned are you to see any negative downside on that in case the monsoon falls below expectations? From the economy side of view, how are you looking at things right now?
I'll take your second question first. Monsoon impact, generally the consensus is that monsoon should be normal, and we expect that should impact positively. If you look at the past trend, monsoon and agriculture has not been greatly contributing into the larger GDP economy in recent years. We are expecting a normal monsoon should drive incremental growth in the GDP. So GDP could be positively surprised by end of the year if monsoon remains normal and contributes significantly. We expect many of those agri-driven companies or corporate will really do well on the back of normal monsoon as well as agricultural growth, which is happening in. On industrial IIP growth, we clearly believe that, as I said earlier, industrial capex looking up. We have seen numbers are coming good. That something will significantly benefit companies which are in capital goods as well as industrials. We are really positive on some of those companies. In some cases, we believe is that global commodity softening on the material side should give a positive surprise on EBITDA levels of some of those companies. Either companies could able to maintain their margins or may in some cases can expand. Clearly prolonged lullness in the commodity prices materials being one of the significant raw material for some of these companies. We remain positive on several large cap and mid cap companies and the industrials as well as capital good companies.
Sadanand, thanks for joining us this morning on Profit, and of course hope to see you soon on the channel and talk about more aspects of this market. Thanks for joining us. I always appreciate your time. Well, joining in and outlining all those vital aspects of this development and what it actually does. Well, it's time now we move into a break, and we keep the focus on, well, we'll also talk about the World Cup that starts off today.
I'm not watching. but there are many fans who are going to be watching the FIFA World Cup. We'll be bringing you updates right here on NDTV Profit. Right now, we will take a break and talking about the need for upgrading Mumbai's infrastructure. That conversation with Bhuvan, cell phone conversations just drop in that city all the time. Back in a moment on Opening Moves.